trying to get the 2-game sweep over the Cardinals. And Colin McHugh trying to follow up what Doug Fister did last night. An incredible performance by him, and against one of the hottest hitting teams in the National League coming into yesterday's game. Fister was in complete control all game long. 7 2/3 innings for him. Just gave up 2 runs, but he was coming right at the Cards, throwing strike after strike, and that curveball was working for him too as he dropped that down low, even out of the zone, which is key against this good low ball hitting team. Colin McHugh was sitting next to the coaches last night, paying very close attention to what he needs to do tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals. He's also trying to bounce back from a really tough day in his last start against Texas. Had a great first couple of innings, was in complete control there. The 3rd inning, though, things got a little out of control for him. The leadoff walk, and then the Rangers, a tough team, started spraying it all over the field. He had that big inning, and it was a hot day, as you can see right there, so his day ended early. Just 3 2/3 for Colin in that last start. Today it will be important for him to bounce back by throwing strikes just like Fister did last night and using that quick pace. And A.J. Hinch talked about this too. When things start to just go awry so quickly like that, you have to completely focus on the hitter, isolate the hitter. Don't let the past damage get you. Stay away from that big inning. It'll be key tonight, and he looks to get to a good start against the St. Louis Cardinals. Stay with us, though. We have first pitch coming around the break. Robert Ford and Jeff Blum will be up in the booth.
St. Louis playing to win, brought to you by Toyota Tundra. And when the Astros win, usually a big reason for that is the production from the bottom portion of their order, and we saw it last night from the 6, 7, and 8 hitters.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. If you look at the numbers on the bottom there, 6, 7, 8 accounted for 5 of those runs, all 5 of those runs last night. So they need these guys in the bottom of the order to get things done. I don't think they're being counted on to be there on a regular basis to produce runs for A.J. Hinch's lineup, but they need to show up every now and then. And here in recent days, they've done a good job on this road trip. Go-Go's come to life a little bit, a couple of home runs. Marlon Gonzalez right here moved into the 2-hole, back into the 8-hole last night. He is hitting 406 on this road trip. Also has a couple RBIs mixed in there. Colby Rasmus, saw him with that big home run here in St. Louis against his former team. And don't forget about Luis Valbuena, who's back in the lineup today, playing some first base while Danny Worth is over at third. Valbuena's hitting 304 on that road trip. Also had a home run off a left-hander out there in Tampa Bay. So those guys are a vital part of the lineup. They don't expect them to produce consistently every day, but when they do, it usually ends up being a win.
All right, let's take a look at the Astros starting lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. And you'll notice that once again, Altuve batting third, Correa batting fourth. Same top four in the lineup as yesterday with Danny Wirth once again in that two spot. I was talking with A.J. Hinch earlier today about trying to find that good two-hole hitter. He thinks Wirth can do the job, at least for the time being, his second game with the Astros after being brought up yesterday from AAA Fresno.
Right-hander Adam Wainwright, a mainstay in this Cardinals rotation when he is healthy. Likes to rack up innings. Can also hit a little bit. We'll talk about that later, but making his 14th start on the season. His numbers against the Houston Astros: 13-1 with a 1.57 ERA in his career. That's the bad news. The good news is I think the only guy in that Astros dugout that remembers any semblance of those numbers that Wainwright was putting up against the Astros might be Jason Castro. I'm not sure if he was playing in too many of those games, but he might have witnessed it back there in 2012. So, new group. Hopefully some new results against Adam Wainwright here at Busch Stadium.
See Adam Wainwright's career numbers against the Astros. Only Yovani Gallardo has more wins among active pitchers against the Astros than Wainwright. And that game that Wainwright lost to the Astros back in 2009, it was so long ago. Jeff Blum was playing in that game. You were 0 for 3, by the way. I looked it up.
Oh, trust me, I did not have good numbers. I didn't strike out, I don't think, a lot against Wainwright, but I know I put the ball in play. But what he did so effectively was the ability to work fastballs on both sides of the count, but both sides of the plate, but also working in the cutter on me left-handed. But he would also throw that fastball in there too. I would give up on it, anticipating the cut. It wouldn't. It ended up being right down the middle of the plate, locked me up.
George Springer will start things off for the Astros.
I appreciate you pointing that out, by the way.
I'm always happy to help. Fouls the first pitch off, and we're underway. Springer looking to get on track on this road trip. Hitless in his last 11 at bats, 4 for 34 on this 9-game road trip, which ends tonight. Astros started it off, dropping 3 out of 4 to the Rangers in Arlington, and lost 2 out of 3 to the Rays in St. Petersburg. Now trying to win this 2-game set from the Cardinals as Springer takes a strike. Much warmer than it was yesterday, believe it or not. 89 degrees was the game time temperature yesterday. Did he go around? Yes, he did, according to Scott Barry. And Springer is the first out of the ball game. So Wainwright getting Springer locked up there as he tried to check his swing. Now it's Danny Wirth, first at bat as an Astro last night, got a base hit to the opposite field. But getting back to the temperature, 95 degrees temperature at first pitch today in St. Louis. Can't wait to get back to that roof at Minute Maid Park. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's always been my feeling. I doubt I'll ever become MLB commissioner. But the first amendment I'm going to make is mandatory retractable roofs on all stadiums.
Pitch misses low. That had to feel good. Playing, and you played in Montreal also, which wasn't a retractable roof, but had a roof. But you get those hot summer days and get that climate-controlled conditions.
Oh, it was huge.
Get fouled on the right field line.
Yeah, the thing about the retractable roof, or in any roof that you play under, is that you know you're going to play the game on time. Oh yeah, there's some big. Yeah, we could have used the roof during that.
Yeah, no kidding.
What? I offered Sparky to talk about that in the dugout, but he's like, no, he's a gamer. He goes out on the field. We're gonna, wear it.
I think he was jealous that I was on TV, so he had to get on TV.
Exactly.
You know, us radio guys can be very petty that way.
Yep. He wanted it on the action.
You got to love Julia getting the candid shot of you two, by the way.
Yeah, you can't hide from her in that camera.
So 1-2 count to Danny Wirth. Breaking ball misses. A.J. Hinch was talking about Wainwright's curveball, and that's always a subject whenever you talk about Wainwright. Such a good hook. The importance of laying off that pitch early in the count. Don't want to be in a position where you're swinging at that curveball until you get 2 strikes and you're in a position where you have to protect. 2-2 pitch. Just missed inside. Came with a fastball. And say the last fastball at 91, so still plenty of velocity there for Wainwright, even though he's dealt with injuries over the last couple of years. Looks like Jeff Kellogg got it right. On the outside corner at the knees. So there's not much you can do with that pitch. Curveball on 3-2, and that's now back-to-back strikeouts to start the game for Wainwright.
That's that curveball Robert's been hinting at, breaking down and away. And again, it's a little more of a slurve. You can see he gets on top of that. Was actually a really good angle to see the depth that curveball creates.
Now it's Altuve batting in the third spot for the 5th straight game. That's lined to the left and a base hit. You can always count on Altuve to get the party started. Now it's a 7-game hit streak.
You know what? Might be a really good stat to look up. How many times has he broken up a no-hitter for the Houston Astros?
No kidding.
Probably a lot because he leads off. There's a good look at it on the strike zone, brought to you by MD Anderson. Down and in, ready for that heater. Turns on it. Good bat quickness.
It's like Altuve basically said, you know what? I know Wainwright's curveball is good, so first pitch fastball, I'm hacking. And Altuve before tonight hadn't had a whole lot of success against Wainwright, just 3 for 14 coming in, although Wainwright hasn't faced the Astros in 3 years. Here's a guy who's never faced him, Correa. Takes one on the inside corner.
And all the numbers will tell you that that's a cutter from Adam Wainwright at 85 miles an hour. Guy knows how to pitch. He's been around for a while. Does a good job of scouting, watching video, knows what's working well for him coming out of the bullpen.
Now in his 11th big league season. Altuve back safely. Altuve leads the American League in steals. Very efficient, as you see there. And of course, Yadier Molina, one of the best in the game when it comes to throwing out would-be base stealers. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. How much of a comfort is it for a pitcher to know you have a catcher like Yadier Molina back there, who, I mean, you still got to hold on runners, but it gives you a lot more margin for error.
Oh yeah, it's definitely paramount to have a guy like that you feel comfortable enough that you don't have to worry about being consistent with your slide step, being as fast as you can to home plate, because sometimes that'll mess with your mechanics on certain pitches. So I'm sure it's a relief for Wainwright knowing that he can get in his normal routine.
Nice catch by Matt Holliday coming in on a solidly hit ball by Correa. Altuve stranded at first base as Wainwright gets out of the inning. No score after a half. First inning. Let's take a look at the Cardinals starting lineup. Once again, Matt Carpenter in that leadoff spot. Aledmys Diaz back in the lineup. Did not play yesterday. Sensational rookie shortstop for the Cardinals, who's been scuffling a little bit offensively of late after a great start. And Adam Wainwright certainly holds his own in that 9 spot.
Yes, he does. Tonight's Let's Motor player profile is brought to you by BMW. Colin McHugh on the hill for the Houston Astros, making his 14th start. Did a good job of breaking down the roller coaster ride that has been Colin McHugh this year. That last start against Texas did not go so well. 3 2/3 inning, knocked out of there early. Gave up 4 earned runs, had 6 punch outs. First innings have been the issue for Colin McHugh. His ERA in that first inning this season, 9.49.
Then that ERA after the first inning, 4.32, so a lot more respectable after he gets to the first. Although in that last start against the Rangers, he cruised the first 2 innings, retiring all 6 he faced, and then it all came undone for him in the third. 2-0 to Carpenter. Missed inside. And so much of Colin McHugh, when he struggles, it's that fastball command, as is true with a lot of pitchers. That can be a big problem for McHugh at times.
Well, we've seen it with McHugh. We've seen it with McCullers.
Sure. Carpenter takes a strike. Carpenter out of TCU. Over Altuve's head for a base hit. Matt Carpenter, a good hitter. Pretty hard to put him away after you get behind 3-1.
Yeah, big league hitters like this count. Matt Carpenter again puts a good swing on it. Fastball up in the zone, almost center cut. 3-1 counts. Big league hitters are looking for that heater. McHugh having tough command outside the zone, had tough command with it in the zone, leaving a pretty good pitch out there to hit.
Now it's Brandon Moss batting in the 2 spot. Moss has been swinging a hot bat, a home run yesterday off of Doug Fister. And McHugh starts him off with a curveball. I think when McHugh a lot of times is at his best is when he's able to land that curveball for strikes early in the count. Some days he's not really able to do it, but he's able to do that a lot of times. That's when he has his better outings. It was a big key for him in that complete game win he had against the Diamondbacks a few starts back. Misses with a fastball.
First career complete game against those Arizona Diamondbacks in Arizona. But I agree with you. It's so effective when you can throw that get me over curveball early in the count, get ahead. Kind of slows down the hitter's eyes and that load for them a little bit, and then you speed them up with that fastball. You have a tendency to beat them.
Right to Valbuena, and they'll get Carpenter in a rundown. Nice job by Valbuena. Not only the tag, but also that rundown play. Didn't even have to make a throw, retiring Carpenter, so a double play.
No, that was extremely heads up. Granted, the ball was hit to his left, allowing him to catch it, just step on first. So that thought process was pretty simple. But after that, he did a great job of recognizing where the base runner was. You see the catch, step on first. You see Matt Carpenter trying to juke him a little bit, but fish ain't biting. Valbuena tags him out, takes care of that double play all by himself.
He's done a really nice job at first base. Started playing there last year. Seems very comfortable over there from the very beginning, really.
Well, I think that's a credit to Valbuena's footwork. He has great footwork at third base that makes him have good hands. Just translates over there at first base also.
Holiday takes a fastball low. McHugh's 1-0. Good fastball in. Holiday hitless in yesterday's ball game. Just 5 hits for the Cardinals last night. 2 of them home runs off Doug Fister, accounting for both of their runs. 2-1. Holiday, son of a longtime college baseball coach, Tom Holiday, is now the pitching coach at Auburn. Former pitching coach at the University of Texas. Was there when Houston Street was coming through that program. Spent time as the head coach at Oklahoma State. Has a brother, Josh Holiday, who played a little bit of pro ball, who's now the head coach at Oklahoma State. His 4th season there. Fouled back to the screen. Holiday keeps it at 2-2. As a matter of fact, Holiday was born in Stillwater, Oklahoma, when his dad was one of the coaches for the Cowboys. Infield pretty much straight up against the right-handed power hitter. Right to Correa. And then over. So McHugh gives up a leadoff hit but gets a double play, and there's no score after one. Houston Astros baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Lexus. The new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. It's next level luxury. By Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. No score as we head to the second inning in St. Louis. Jeff Blum's favorite tourist attraction, the Gateway Arch.
There's no chance. I mean, what are we doing?
Rasmus swings at the first pitch. Backhanded by Carpenter, but not in time. Even if Adams holds on to that, Rasmus probably safe. And Colby, who had 2 hits, including a home run in his first game against his old team yesterday, picks up an infield single.
Did a good job of picking the right spot on that ground ball. Matt Carpenter playing him well to pull. Could not find the handle out of the glove. Good hustle by Colby.
So gets a knock against his former teammate. And now it's Valbuena, who figures to be a pretty good matchup against Wainwright, and the numbers bear that out. 409 hitter against Wainwright all time. 9 hits and 22 at bats, and 5 of those hits for extra bases, including a homer.
Well, we know that Luis Valbuena has that uppercut to his swing, and I think that benefits him when you're facing a guy that has a big breaking ball like Wainwright does, has the ability to get underneath that thing, and if he times it right, able to launch it.
Takes a strike over the outside corner with a fastball. Valbuena getting the start at first base tonight. Marwin Gonzalez started there yesterday. Valbuena not in the lineup yesterday. Cardinals starting southpaw Jaime Garcia. 2-1. Talking last inning about Wainwright and Yadier Molina and kind of having that comfort back there because Molina's so good at controlling the running game. Well, this is the 199th or 198th game that Wainwright and Molina have started together. That's a Cardinals record for a pitcher and catcher. Foul, 2-2.
Not only is that impressive, that's pretty cool.
They just passed with their 198th start together. They just passed Bob Gibson and Tim McCarver, who started 197 games as a battery with the Cardinals. Gibson, of course, a Hall of Famer. Tim McCarver now doing some broadcast work for the Cardinals, no longer a national broadcaster, and a Hall of Famer as a broadcaster in his own right. 2-2 still to Valbuena.
It's not too often these days you find an opportunity to keep a battery around for that long.
Yeah,
just due to contracts, free agency, trades, that kind of stuff. But here at St. Louis, they've done a good job of keeping these guys around. Longtime catcher Mike Matheny, now the manager, respects what Yadier Molina is doing and how he handles Wainwright.
Got him on a breaking ball. Third strikeout for Wainwright.
What Wainwright does good too is he's able to locate. When I mean locate, you can paint corners early in the count. What he does when he gets to those 2-strike counts, you may be looking for the pitch, and he may throw the pitch you're looking for, but you see just off the edge or just far enough away to stay away from the swing.
Now here's Carlos Gomez. You see Wainwright's strikeout rate has declined, which is not all that surprising as he ages, but still a very effective pitcher. Gomez has good numbers against Wainwright and almost added to them there, but Peralta able to get a double play. Hit hard by Gomez. Not much Rasmus could have done on that. And there's no score after an inning and a half.
Astros and the Cardinals. It's time to take a look at our Chevy Stro poll. Make sure to head over to the Root Sports SW Twitter page to vote. We're going to tell you who wins later in the broadcast. You guys talking about that National League Central Division earlier. Which rivalry do you miss the most? Cards, Cubs, Pirates, or the Reds? Some pretty good games played against these teams. Guys, do you have a say? Do you have a vote?
The Cardinals and Cubs for me, that's a tough call. Because I remember I got so annoyed having the Cubs fans come into Houston and cheering their brains out, and then all of a sudden we'd beat them, and it felt that much better having them travel all that way, watch our team get beat. But the Cardinals always brought a good game with them.
So for you, it was more about the Cubs and their fans more so than it was about the team.
Yeah.
Whereas the Cardinals, it was more about the competition on the field.
Yes.
0-2 now to Stephen Piscotty. Good elevated fastball by McHugh.
It's good to see him ahead early in this count.
And now needs to try and finish off Piscotty. That's been an issue for McHugh, finishing off hitters after getting ahead. Missed with that one. Colin McHugh with 2 strikes, getting 2 strikes on the hitter. They're batting .315 off of him after he gets 2 strikes on him. But weak contact here from Piscotty. Gomez has it lined up, and there's 1 out. How hot is it in St. Louis? Well, it's that hot. 95 degrees at game time.
And that thing's been going for the first 2 innings, at least, that we've noticed from looking out there.
How about the guy whose job is just to sit up there?
Yeah.
That's all he's. Hey, what do you do every night? Oh, well, you know, I run the fire hose at Busch Stadium and I just sit on top of it, watch baseball. It's my job.
It's making a lot of people happy right now. I know that.
No question. Matt Adams looks at a breaking ball, 0-1. I don't know that I've ever seen that at a ballpark where you have a hose like that.
No, that gives you a real good idea how warm it is here.
And humid as well. 0-2.
A couple of perfectly located pitches from Colin McHugh. First pitch breaking ball like you were talking about, Robert, to get ahead and then pump that down and away heater. He is in control of this AB.
Adams homered yesterday. Hits this one pretty sharply, but into the shift right at Correa. 2 outs.
Join the Astros at Minute Maid this Friday as they take on the Cincinnati Reds. 10,000 fans will receive an Astros gym bag presented by Houston Methodist. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Now I know why you're doing the games at Minute Maid Park. You're looking for a new gym bag.
Dude, there's going to be a new gym bag. It's Star Wars going on. I mean, my agent worked overtime to get me on this plush series that's going to happen here. Can't wait to get back to Minute Maid.
Johnny Peralta, Cardinals third baseman. 0-1. Astros have the Reds and then the Angels on that 6-game homestand off tomorrow for opening up against the Reds on Friday. Hit pretty well to right. Springer. 3 out. So a 1-2-3 inning for Colin McHugh. No score after 2.
Scored here at Busch Stadium. The Force comes to Houston this Friday for Star Wars night. All fans with the special Star Wars ticket package picks up a Jedi Council triple bobblehead featuring Altuve, Correa, and Keuchel. Choose from either the Star Wars ticket package or the Star Wars and Comic Palooza ticket package at Astros.com/Star Wars or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Plummer, are your socks ready?
Absolutely. I've got the Chewbacca socks ready. Well, kind of. I got to wash them. It's been a long road trip. Yeah.
Please wash them.
I love how you act like you're going to wash them.
Well, it sounds good in theory.
Scoreless ball game as we start the 3rd inning with Castro. And you see Castro, pretty good numbers against Wainwright, 357 hitter. But again, Wainwright hasn't faced the Astros since 2013. 0-1. Wainwright has dominated the Astros in his career, 13-1, 1.57 ERA, 15 starts, 21 games overall. And he's won 7 consecutive starts against the Astros. But the last outing against them came July 9, 2013 at Minute Maid Park. Gave up a run in 7 innings and got the victory in that game. Bounce to the screen. Only loss by Wainwright against the Astros. He's 13-1 against them all time. Came August 2nd, 2009, right here in St. Louis. Gave up 2 runs in 7 innings and lost 2-0 to Bud Norris, who threw 7 scoreless in that game. Jeff Blum played.
Might have been Bud Norris's debut.
August 2nd, 2009.
If I remember correctly, I know he's got great numbers in his career against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wainwright hits Castro on a high fastball. And let's go down to the field with Julia Morales.
Thanks, Robert. As the pitcher spot comes up here, Mike Matheny talking about Doug Fister's big hit last night, the 2-run single. Said who knew their pitcher was going to come up and put together the kind of at bat nobody else in the league has really been able to against O all season. He doesn't put it up on a tee for anybody. Doug Fister saying that he takes hitting very seriously. Of course, he did it in the National League the past couple of years, but after the game didn't even want to really joke about the fact that he's had some great at bats. He was all business about that and was helped himself out there in that situation, guys.
Thank you, Julia. It's a 1-1 count to Colin McHugh. I asked A.J. Hinch about that situation last night, letting Fister hit for himself in the 7th inning. Got the 2-run single. Opted not to pinch hit, in part because there were 2 outs. Didn't think it made a whole lot of sense with 2 outs to send a pinch hitter up there, but Fister certainly rewarding his faith. By the way, I looked that up, Lummer, about Wainwright and Bud Norris. August 2nd, 2009, last time the Astros beat Wainwright.
Yep.
2-2. And it was Bud Norris's 2nd big league start and his 1st big league win.
There you go.
Norris actually starting tonight for Atlanta.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. 2 hits in those 7 innings for Bud Norris against Adam Wainwright.
And looking at this a little more closely, it was actually his 1st big league start. He had made 1 appearance in relief against the Cubs at Wrigley before making that start on August 2nd of 2009. McHugh stays alive.
So I get half a sack on that?
Half a sack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
half a sack.
That's good.
It's a generous
I was in on the play.
system, though.
Yeah. Got a shoelace.
And I mean, that had to have been a big lift for you guys at that time. McHugh trying to get one up the middle, but Diaz making a nice play. 2 outs. Cardinals have really been impressed by Diaz offensively and defensively.
Very nice play moving to his left. Good jump. Good pick. What's key in those plays when you're going left or right is that exchange from glove to bare hand. You can see that Diaz made it pretty easy. Good job judging the throw as he was moving into left field too.
Native of Cuba, was playing at Double-A last year and made the Cardinals out of spring training this year. Springer hits the first pitch to Diaz. Low throw, nice job by Adams. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Wainwright, still looking for our first runs of the evening as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. no score as we go to the bottom of the third in St. Louis, Missouri. Astros trying to sweep this 2-game set from St. Louis, who will travel to Houston in August for a couple of games. See some Astros fans making the trip. Always see quite a few Astros fans here in St. Louis. Seen quite a few over the last few days. Colin McHugh has faced a minimum thus far. Gave up a leadoff single to Carpenter in the first. But he was erased on a double play. And now he'll have to contend with Yadier Molina. Castro will watch that go into the seats. Molina, longtime all-star catcher for this Cardinals team. And you know, there's some catchers who it's really hard to take out of the lineup, and Molina's certainly one of those. Hit weekly foul, 0-2. You think about catchers who pretty much play every day and play more than most starting catchers. Yadier Molina and Salvador Perez in Kansas City probably at the top of the list.
Yeah, it's not easy to do these days. Especially, you talked about the weather today. You're catching in a Midwestern state. You know, you got both Yadier and Salvador Perez in the similar parts of the country where the humidity can get cranked up a little bit. You got to throw the gear on and go back there and catch on a daily basis. It's a credit to these guys and their ability and their athleticism.
Good breaking ball by McHugh to get his first strikeout.
Jack in the Box takes us inside the box score. And it's going to be best in the league road records since 2015. Houston Astros doing a great job on the road. Playing against some of those former NL foes. 12-4, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Chicago, Tigers sneaking in there.
Overall, the last two seasons, Astros 21-7 in interleague play. That's the best in the majors. Aledmys Diaz looks at a strike. Astros 5-3 in interleague play this year. They dropped 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee first week of the season. Then had that 4-game home-at-home set with Arizona, winning 3 of those. Shot foul. Diaz did not start last night's ball game. Greg Garcia got the start at short. Diaz just 4 for his last 24. Really scuffling on the Cardinals' last road trip before this series started. They went through Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Cardinals going 5-1 on that trip. Good swing on a hanging curveball, but foul out in front.
Oh, that's a great picture. Young Astro fan here. Ball game today.
That's fantastic.
8-month-old in her first road ball game. That's nice.
8 months old already. A great dresser. Wearing the right gear.
It's good parenting.
Absolutely. Love the matching bow too. Really tops off that ensemble. Up the middle. Flag down by Correa. Got him. Outstanding play by Carlos Correa, showing off his arm strength. 2 outs.
That was a phenomenal play. It was a close play at first. Mike Matheny is going to have his guys take a look at it, but that was an incredible play by Carlos Correa, moving far to his left. Saw Aledmys do it earlier. Now he's getting it done to him, but the spin move. But what's impressive for me with Carlos Correa is when he made that spin move, watch how he makes a spin, gets on top of the baseball and puts some velocity on that ball. It's a good look at the play at first on our Super Mo, brought to you by Mattress Firm. Ball is in the glove.
Mike Matheny opting not to challenge. What I've always been impressed with Correa is, for a guy as tall as he is, 6'4", when he's going to his left or to his right, he does such a good job of keeping that glove low. Right at Altuve. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. Colin McHugh is set down 8 in a row. And no score through 3. the 4th in St. Louis. Astros road ahead, presented by the DeMontron Auto Group. Take a look at the upcoming schedule. 6 games at home against the Reds. More interleague action than the Angels. Then a trip to Kansas City, about 4 hours from where the Astros are right now. And wrap up next couple of weeks with some home games against the White Sox.
That'll be good. There's also a day off tomorrow. So those 3 Thursdays in a row will give the Astros a chance to regroup. You know who loves those off days are bullpen guys.
Oh, yeah.
One day they know they do not have to get hot.
That's right. So the Astros go 20 straight days without an off day, and tomorrow will be their 2nd off day in the last 4. And we're off on Monday. Worth 0 for 1. As Wainwright misses with the first pitch breaking ball. You know, Danny Worth, pretty good pitcher in his own right. He's pitched in mop-up games a few times in the majors and minors. Has a very good knuckleball. And hoping he doesn't have to start throwing that knuckleball full time anytime soon. And with the way he's played at Fresno, certainly not in the offing, but none other than Steve Sparks, a knuckleball authority, says that Worth is one of the better knuckleballs he's seen from a position player.
He hasn't seen mine.
I think he'd still say that, though, even though he hasn't seen yours.
Good chance.
To right center, Moss fighting the sun, and he's called off by Piscotty. Moss, as soon as that ball was hit in the air, put his glove up over his eyes to try and shield his eyes from the sun. Starting an hour earlier today than yesterday. Right field with plenty of sunlight, rest of the field in shadow.
Smart play by Piscotty going over there and taking that ball away from Brandon Moss. Has a much better angle going to it.
Piscotty pretty new to center field. Randall Grichuk had been playing center every day for the Cardinals, but has been scuffling offensively. So Piscotty, who's played mostly corners in his professional career, getting a shot in center and has done a decent job there by all accounts. Altuve had the Astros' first hit of the night. 1-1. There's 2 singles off of Adam Wainwright thus far. Colby Rasmus, an infield hit in the 2nd. Cardinals with just 1 hit off Colin McHugh. It's 1 foul. Doesn't matter who you throw out there. Altuve's going to hit him. He's really good against lefties, among the league leaders, but among the league leaders against right-handed pitching as well. Just a great hitter, period. 2-2. Altuve starting the day 2nd in the American League in batting. And 2nd in hits as well. Now has a full count. And you know, as good of a hitter as Altuve is, Blummer, it's really been impressive seeing how good he's done at working the count. 31 walks this year. He's among the league leaders, tied for 9th.
Yeah, and I think that's really benefited him in the sense that he's gotten some better pitches in the zone to drive. So that home run number is up pretty quick this year for Jose Altuve.
Chopper foul. Most walks Altuve's ever had in a season in his career is 40. And he is well on his way to surpassing that in the first half of the season.
And that's probably the most impressive thing about Jose Altuve for me is his ability to continue to morph into a better hitter each year, challenging himself.
And there's walk number 32 on the season for Altuve. You know, talking with Dave Hudgens about that, says, you know, every year that he's been here as the Astros hitting coach, Altuve comes to him with more ideas of how he can be better.
You get to talk to Dave Hudgens?
I do.
Must be nice, man.
Well, you know, I just know how to approach him, I guess.
Trust me, I've tried. There is a force field around that man when I try and get near him. He's a great guy, though. I've actually been able to corner him in a weight room every now and then and have some really good conversations, but it's got to be under the radar.
Nothing happening on the pitch out.
This time last year, Carlos Correa was doing some serious damage in the big leagues. First career 3-hit game. Try and give him a little love, spark that bat, get it going again. See that against the Colorado Rockies. It doesn't have to be anything barreled up. Just find some open acreage out there and run.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. Correa hit the ball hard his first time. And looking to do it again, and this time have something to show for it against Wainwright. 2-1. Adam Wainwright has played all 11 of his big league seasons with St. Louis. A lot of people have forgotten he was originally drafted by the Braves, a first-round pick. That one will go foul.
Correa having a tough time with that slider slash cutter from Adam Wainwright. Good late movement on that pitch from Wainwright. See, just avoids the barrel enough.
Wainwright, when he was in the minor leagues with the Braves, was traded after the 2003 season to Atlanta, or to the Cardinals. J.D. Drew, Eli Marrero going to Atlanta in that deal. The Cardinals also got pitchers Ray King and Jason Marquis. And Wainwright was the only player in that deal without major league experience. Made his big league debut with the Cardinals in 2005. And he really was a weapon early in his career out of the bullpen, but the plan was always for him to be a starting pitcher. He has been a really good one. 121 wins coming into this year as Altuve goes, and the throw is waiting for him. Yadier Molina about as good as they get, and Jose Altuve's caught stealing for just the second time this year.
Altuve gambling in that 2-strike count. Get a good look at it. The jump was relatively good, but you could have an idea how good Yadier Molina is behind home plate with those quick feet, strong arms. Solid pick right there from Carpenter too.
It really was, and then after he picked it, he just had to wait for Altuve to get there.
He almost whiffed on the tag, it looked like.
And Wainwright issues his second straight walk. Doesn't walk very many.
Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. Benefiting Houston Children's Charities, Astros postseason home run leaders all time. Carlos Beltran has 8. And if you recall, he only had 1 postseason with the Houston Astros. Gives you an idea how much damage he was doing. Lance Berkman, Mike Lamb had some big home runs in postseasons.
Of course, Colby Rasmus last year.
Yeah, big numbers in the postseason.
Here is Rasmus. By the way, the 2 walks by Wainwright. This is only the 4th start this year in which Wainwright has walked more than 1. Rasmus now has an 0-1 count. Infield hit his first time. Scoreless ball game in the top of the 4th. Astros winning last night 5-2 here. 1-1. It was great to hear Rasmus yesterday talk about how much he appreciated his time in St. Louis. Wasn't always easy for him here. A lot of expectations placed on him as a first-round pick. And coming over to a real veteran team. Really had a tough time fitting in initially. But boy, has he found a home in Houston. Coming back this year after accepting that qualifying offer. First player ever to accept one of those qualifying offers. And he absolutely loves being in Houston. 2-2. And Rasmus, he even said, you know, when I think back to my time with St. Louis, some of the struggles I had, you know, a lot of it was just youth. Get into the big leagues, 22 years old. Never really dealt with a lot of different things. Talks about how much more mature he is now.
I think what a problem some guys have is that they do extremely well in the minor leagues. They're protected a little bit. They get to the big leagues, they're just another guy on a roster.
Wainwright gets his 5th strikeout, works around a couple of walks. Yadier Molina with a caught stealing.
Against Adam Wainwright, no score between the Astros and Cardinals. Follow Astros baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment with game day, StatCast, live highlights, and more. Even when you're at the game with Minute Maid Park's new Wi-Fi. Download the app for your phone or tablet now.
Matt Carpenter leads it off. 0-1. Colin McHugh really doing a good job of attacking the strike zone so far in this ball game. 25 of his 32 pitches have been strikes. He's faced the minimum thus far. 0-2. And we see McHugh attack the strike zone early in the count, but it's been finishing off hitters that has been an issue for him throughout this season. Now trying to finish off Carpenter, and he does. Elevated a fastball. Second strikeout for McHugh.
Good to see McHugh executing. A little flustered there in that first inning. Fell behind Matt Carpenter when he gave up that only hit he's given up so far. But a good job elevating. The book on the Cardinals is they have trouble with velocity and they have trouble up in the zone.
And McHugh certainly capable of pitching up in the zone effectively. 1-0 to Brandon Moss. Astros with 3 infielders to the right of second against the left-handed pull hitter. Curveball for a strike. Moss acquired by the Cardinals last year from Cleveland in a deadline deal. 1-2.
Changeup. Good pitch down in the zone.
He's gotten more confidence in that pitch.
He got into trouble a little bit in Texas, yanked a couple of changeups to left-handed hitters down and in, and they took advantage of it. That was well located.
And a well located breaking ball there. Back-to-back strikeouts for Colin McHugh. Hey, talk about that start in Texas. I believe it was the Fielder. Prince Fielder hit that home run off that changeup.
Yep.
But a changeup to help set up that strikeout of Moss. And you see the changeup usage increasing for Colin McHugh.
And all that is confidence.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. just off the plate away. I remember last year when he would use it, a lot of times it would be in tough situations. He just didn't do it all that often. But this year starting to use it a little bit more against these left-handed hitters.
What would be great is if he gets confident enough to use it where he can save it for some of those tough situations where guys haven't seen it throughout the course of the game. And then you break it out in a runner in scoring position type situation, put a guy away. Be a great pitch to hold on to.
And you see getting more hitters to chase that changeup.
That'll give you confidence.
Absolutely. 1-2. Fastball off the plate. McHugh, very much a thinking man's type of pitcher, very cerebral, always trying to find a way to get better. Really a guy that's a lot of fun to talk pitching with because he's really explored all the different angles. 2-2. Definitely a guy who has a good idea of what he needs to do out there on the mound. Altuve. That ends the inning. Hit hard by Holiday. He throws his helmet down after he's robbed of a hit. Colin McHugh, he is set down 11 straight.
Minute Maid Park with the best fireworks show in town. The next Friday Night Fireworks Spectacular is a Star Wars themed show after this Friday night's game against the Reds. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Welcome back. You want to know what's new at Busch Stadium this year? It's the meatball cone. You know, they're known for their great Italian food on the hill. This is a little bit of a taste of that. It's meatballs in an Italian bread cone. I'm wearing half of the Parmesan she put on it for me, but this looks delicious, guys. What do you think?
Thanks, Julie. It certainly does look delicious and looks very healthy as well. No score as we start the top of the 5th inning. A meatball cone. And what will they think of next?
No, meatballs in a cone. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I'm not sure if today's the day that I would venture out.
Yeah.
Get a cone of meatballs.
Not today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the temperature threshold might be around 72 degrees.
Fair enough.
So we're well above that.
You'd be waiting a long time in St. Louis for that.
Yep.
The temperature to get to that threshold again.
Yeah, it may not be at the ballpark.
Hit hard by Valbuena, and Moss will have to play it in front of him. That's the 3rd hit Wainwright has allowed. And Valbuena, who came in hitting .409 against the Cardinals right-hander, adds to that. And just in case you're wondering how they prepare that meatball cone.
Nothing screams summer like hot meatballs in a cone and Parmesan cheese.
Who originally said that? Was that Franklin D. Roosevelt?
Yes.
Okay.
He was way ahead of his time. It's a White House secret.
That does look delicious, though. I feel like there's like a room someplace where people just sit around and just, hey, what about an ice cream cone with meatballs in it? All right, let's do that. I think that's what's happening. 1-0 to Gomez.
Tell you what, some of those hot dogs and hamburgers that poor Julia's had to eat over the years, I would agree with that theory.
That's why Julia jogs roughly 30 miles every morning.
Exactly.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Old school rocket pops.
There you go. 2-0 now to Gomez.
Oh. She's never shy to go in there and give it a shot, is she? Got a kid, Julia.
There you go. Taking one for the team. Astros trying to break this scoreless tie, but Valbuena at first and nobody out. And now it's 3-0 to Gomez. I wonder if this is a situation here too where Wainwright may be trying to be a little too careful of Gomez because he knows Carlos has hit him well in the past.
Could be. Got back-to-back guys, Valbuena and Gomez, who have great numbers against Wainwright. Valbuena already on first base with that knock. Might want to let Gomez loose here. He's seen the ball well off Wainwright in a 3-0 count. Good chance you get a heater.
Takes a strike.
I got to give Gomez credit for not going after that. We've seen some wild hacks from Gomez in the past, really expanding the zone, trying to go deep. But right there in a 3-0 count, it looked like he really narrowed it down where he wanted that fastball, and that was not where he wanted it, and he's laid off it.
And just because it's a strike, you don't have to swing at it on 3-0. And Wainwright gets one over again. Now a full count.
You fall behind Wainwright 3-0 on a couple pitches, not even close in the zone. He comes back and paints two on you.
And really can't sit on anything here on 3-2 from Wainwright. Can't expect it's going to be a fastball for certain. Missed low, did get the fastball, but didn't locate it. And that's now 3 walks for Adam Wainwright, and they've all come in the last couple of innings. Very atypical for Wainwright.
Pretty gutsy take by Gomez. Yeah, you had something on Gomez wearing the glasses in the last couple games, but you noticed why he's wearing them, or if they're prescription or are they not?
My understanding is they're not.
Okay.
I've seen him wear them for pregame warm-ups in the past. And I do have to double check with Gomez on that, but I do not believe they are prescription. And it may have been one of those things too where, you know, mentioned he wore them in pregame warm-ups in the past, may have been trying them out before actually wearing them in the game, see if they felt comfortable to him. 0-1 to Castro. Best threat for the Astros tonight. First time they've had 2 men on. As a matter of fact, it's the first time either team has had multiple base runners in an inning. 0-2.
With that foul ball, we're going to take a look at our Lexus defensive ratings. Looking at the Cardinals outfield. Matt Holliday out there in left field. Did make a great play earlier in this ball game, but still one of those guys that I think Gary Pettis is going to test that arm of his. Steven Piscotty's played the corner spots. We saw a throw home from him yesterday. Almost got Carlos Gomez, but really not much velocity out of the hand. Brandon Moss has some experience out there in right field, and I think that the reason he is in right field might be because he has a better arm than the other 2 guys.
Pitcher up next. Nice play by Adams, and the Cardinals turn 2. That was an excellent play by Mike Adams to start that double play, and then Wainwright getting over to cover first base.
Now that's a big play in this situation too. Pitcher coming up next. That was a rocket off the bat of Castro. You look at Adams, did a good job of setting up that throw, making a good throw, and giving himself the ability to get back to first base and cover.
Yeah, I thought Wainwright had gotten there, but he was in the vicinity, but Adams did get back. So now a runner at third, but 2 out and the pitcher up.
It's a big play.
It really is. And Castro hit that ball hard on 0-2 off of Wainwright. McHugh 0 for 3 at the plate this year. And he bunted through that one. So with 2 out, trying to find a way to get that run in. Maybe bunt for a hit. McHugh, he had that complete game against Arizona 3 starts back, and he got down 2 sacrifice bunts in that game, and he was upset about the third plate appearance when he failed to get down the bunt. It's 0-2 to McHugh as Wainwright gets a breaking ball over. Ball bounce foul. You're a pretty good athlete. You could see him if he played in the National League regularly, like he got some time in the National League with the Cardinals or with the Rockies and the Mets. If he played regularly in the National League, you could see him handling the bat pretty well for a pitcher. Wainwright gets him with some high heat. A walk and a single, but Wainwright gets out of it. No score. Houston Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Jack in the Box. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack is back. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston's Children's Charity. No score as we go to the bottom of the 5th on a hot June day in St. Louis. It's a few blocks from the ballpark here in downtown St. Louis. And what's really been hot in this game has been the pitching on both sides. Adam Wainwright getting out of a first and second no-out jam in the top of the 5th. Colin McHugh, he has set down 11 in a row since allowing a leadoff single to Matt Carpenter, and has faced the minimum through the first 4 innings. Scotty looks at a breaking ball. 0-1. It's low. Scotty out of Stanford. He played all over there. He was an infielder, an outfielder, and a pitcher for the Stanford Cardinal, and also got his degree in atmosphere and energy engineering from that fine university. Drives this one deep to right. Long run for Springer over his head. Piscotty headed for second base with a double. First hit off of Colin McHugh since the first inning.
Let's take a look at our Ford spray chart. This is Matt Adams with runners in scoring position. He's got that situation right now. Pretty evenly distributed to right and left, up the middle. He's got 8 of those knocks. Gives you a good idea. He's got high risk numbers as far as average is concerned. And I think with those base hits going up the middle the other way, that's why those red zones, middle and middle away, are lit up in red. Doing a good job sacrificing himself, not looking so much to turn and burn and try and drive it out of there, but more or less get that runner in.
This Cardinals club overall the best in the majors at hitting with runners in scoring position. 0-1 to Adams.
And they've been pretty good throughout the years driving guys in with runners in scoring position.
Well, 3 years ago, 2013, they set a major league record hitting .330 with runners in scoring position. This year they're batting .312 in such scenarios, 17 points better than anyone else in the big leagues. 0-2 to Adams.
Yeah, those are big numbers.
And Piscotty, who's at second base, he's hitting better than .500 with runners in scoring position. Adams, as Blummer mentioned, has done well in these spots also. Long set by McHugh, and now he'll step off and look Piscotty back.
What's interesting in this situation, though, Matt Adams in the middle of that order, I'm sure Matheny wants him to drive in that run, but it's also an opportunity for the left-handed hitter to pull something on the right side with nobody out, move that runner to third base, less than 2 outs, give Johnny Peralta a chance to drive him in.
Got him on a breaking ball. Castro looks the runner back to second before getting the out at first. 4th strikeout for Colin McHugh, and it comes in a big spot.
Pretty impressive. You got a guy with massive numbers with runners in scoring position, and you punch him out like this. Give a lot of credit to Colin McHugh. Nice block by Castro to keep it nearby. Didn't let the runner advance from second, getting that out. That was big. Not done yet.
Great to see the way McHugh's been finishing off these hitters after he's gotten ahead. Been very impressive and a big key to his outing thus far. So now Peralta will try and drive the run in.
Well, I had a chance to talk to Steve Sparks before this ball game, talking about Colin McHugh and how he can be successful, and a lot of it has to do with mechanics with Colin.
That's hit pretty well. A little hook foul.
Fortunately, just a sharp foul ball, but with Colin McHugh, a lot of it has to do with head movement. If his head is stable, center of his body going down towards home plate, he's going to be in good shape. But if that head starts to lean a little bit to the left, leads to some arm drag on the arm side and lose command of that fastball. But he's been doing a real good job staying steady and even. Center of gravity's been nice and going downhill towards home plate.
One strike pitch. Nice block by Castro. Peralta came back last week from the thumb injury that he suffered in spring training. He had been penciled in as the Cardinals opening day shortstop before he got hurt, opening the door for Aledmys Diaz. 3rd year in St. Louis for Peralta, who had spent 4 years with the Tigers, and before that 8 years in a Cleveland Indians uniform. Indians, the organization that signed him out of the Dominican Republic. Two and one.
Here we get a look from Colin's head. You see the head going down towards, but that arm kind of flared out to the right a little bit, getting out of that 90-degree angle that he would like to see going down towards home plate. Therefore, the pitch just kind of fluttered out of his hand. Didn't really have that good sharp break we've seen consistently in this outing from him.
Now it's 3-1 to Peralta. Very good hitter on deck. As pitching coach Brent Strom looks on. Yadier Molina on deck, and a very good hitter, but also a double play candidate. So we'll see if McHugh chooses to be careful here with Peralta on the 3-1 count. Hit to right field. Long run for Springer. And that'll drop in for a hit. Runner trying to score. The throw's there in plenty of time. 2 outs. Springer nailing Stephen Piscotty.
This is why you never give up on a play. Heck of a play by George Springer, helping out Colin McHugh with that play. Blew up Johnny Peralta with that fastball. He dropped it in front of George Springer, who was running a long way. And I'm sure George, on the way into this ball, thought about laying out for it, but made the choice to stand up. How about picking that ball up on the short hop, spin, and throw an absolute seed to home plate? That was special.
It really was. My goodness.
Now, there's a lot of things you can teach these guys to do at the major league level. That's one thing you cannot teach. That is natural instinct and talent taking over for a guy like George Springer.
That's his 7th outfield assist, which ties him for 2nd most in the American League. Only the White Sox Adam Eaton has more outfield assists than Springer. He has 8. Molina lifts the first pitch pretty well to left field. That hooks away from Rasmussen into the corner. Peralta getting the stop sign at third as Molina checks in with a double. 3rd hit of the inning for St. Louis, the 2nd 2-bagger.
How important was that play from George Springer now?
Absolutely. Looked like a breaking ball that got a little too much of the plate from Colin.
Yeah, it did. Almost look like Yadier was sitting on it too.
Yep.
Got the barrel out in front of it, raked it down that left field line. Here's a good look at it on the Super Bowl. Big breaking ball, and like you said, Robert, did catch a lot of the plate. Stayed up a little bit longer. Good credit Yadier with that double down the left field line.
Astros will walk Aledmys Diaz, load the bases with 2 out, and bring the pitcher Wainwright up. Sometimes this is the life of a number 8 hitter. Don't see a whole lot good to hit with the pitcher batting behind you in the National League, of course. But Wainwright, a pretty good hitting pitcher.
10 RBIs on the season.
And he got 2 of those as a pinch hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates last week. Wound up hitting a 2-run double in the 12th inning. Cardinals were out of position players. Hit a 2-run double, and that wound up being the game winner for the St. Louis Cardinals. So 10 RBIs on the year for Wainwright. That leads National League pitchers. And he'll get an opportunity here with the bases loaded. Wainwright also has 4 doubles and 1 triple, also a home run, so 6 extra base hits for Wainwright. And he almost had another hit there.
On accident.
Scott Barry on the call. Very close.
I thought that was a great pitch to lead off this at bat by Colin McHugh. Speaking of McHugh, that was a little cue shot off the bat of Wainwright.
Sure was.
Got out ahead of that little bit of a cutter slider from Colin McHugh, knowing that Adam Wainwright's going to be aggressive. Michael Wacha wanted that to be fair, didn't he?
He sure did.
And all those numbers you rattled off about Adam Wainwright, Colin McHugh's not going to pitch to the pitcher. He is pitching to Adam Wainwright, the hitter.
That's right. You know, that was in the scouting report about Wainwright and his ability at the plate. 0-2. And it's funny because the fans, you can tell they know that Wainwright is a good hitting pitcher. I think they were a little more jazzed up when Wainwright got to the plate than they normally would be in this spot with a pitcher hitting.
No doubt. These fans here know there's an opportunity if this guy has a bat in his hand. Colin McHugh looking to put him away.
2-strike pitch. Not hit hard. And taken to third base by Worth to end the inning. So Colin McHugh works out of a bases loaded jam. Gave up 3 hits in the inning. Springer helping with an outfield assist. No score after 5.
Cardinals as we go to the top of the 6th inning here in St. Louis. This pitching performance is going to be brought to you by Kubota. Roy Oswalt in this stadium. That was game 6 in that 2005 NLCS. The Astros needed this win. But in that NLCS on a whole, 2-0, 1.29. My gosh, that 163 opponent average in a playoff game like that of that magnitude, pretty impressive stuff. And what's crazy, and what I don't think gets talked about enough in that 2005 season, is Roy Oswalt having to pitch in that game 6 had a huge effect on what happened in that World Series. Taking him out of that game 1 start of the World Series was a big problem for the Houston Astros.
And you certainly know it, being on the other side for that World Series. So Oswalt and the Astros helped close out old Busch Stadium, which was just north of the current version of Busch Stadium.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was the last game in Busch Stadium.
Yep, game 6 of the 2005 NLCS when the Astros won the pennant. Springer takes one high. Got his 7th outfield assist in the bottom of the 5th inning. Excellent play gunning down Stephen Piscotty. 2-0. This ballpark opening in 2006. The 3rd stadium the Cardinals have played in that's been known as Busch Stadium. Well struck down the right field line, but that'll slice into the seats. Of course, the best known of those Busch Stadiums, or the longest lasting of those, was the last Busch Stadium the Cardinals played in. Played there from '66 through that '05 NLCS. And the Cardinals before that played in a park that had been known as Sportsman's Park. And then when Gussie Busch of the Anheuser-Busch family bought the ball club in the 50s, he renamed the park Busch Stadium.
It's kind of selfish.
Well, he didn't do it necessarily because he wanted a park named after himself. Originally what happened was Gussie Busch, Anheuser-Busch family, they buy the Cardinals. And originally he wanted to call it Budweiser Park in the 1950s. And Major League Baseball said you can't do that. You can't have a ballpark with a corporate sponsor name. Boy, have times changed. Hit pretty well by Springer. Moss still going back, drifting with that ball to make the catch. So Gussie Busch, he got rebuffed trying to name it Budweiser Park. So he said, all right, well, I'll just name it after myself, Busch Stadium. And then not too long after the ballpark was named Busch Stadium, all of a sudden Anheuser-Busch had a new product called Busch Beer. So still found a way to make it a corporate tie-in. Ahead of his time.
And now MLB is like, yeah, bring it. You've got a check. You can put whatever you want on that stadium.
I mean, now it's like, can you name a stadium, or that very many stadiums that don't have the corporate name?
That would be a challenge.
Exactly. Danny Worth lifts it right side. Carpenter, 2 out. And you know, when Gussie Busch bought this Cardinals team in the early 50s, he actually helped save Cardinals baseball in St. Louis. There's a very good chance that the Cardinals are going to move to Houston. And it was a 2-team city at the time, with the St. Louis Browns of the American League also in St. Louis, and they both shared Sportsman's Park, and came very close to having the Cardinals sold to a group that would have moved the team to Houston, which had been a long time minor league affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals, the Houston Buffaloes. But Gussie Busch bought the team, and Cardinals baseball has continued in St. Louis. Nothing in 2 to Altuve. Imagine how much differently history would have been if Cardinals had moved down to Houston in the 50s. Instead, it was the St. Louis Browns who left town. They moved to Baltimore, became the Orioles in 1954.
Gussie had the right hat on.
And I believe that number 85 that's retired for Gussie Busch, I believe that is still the highest retired number in baseball. That number 85.
It's going out on a limb there, Robert.
I know it was for a long time. I don't think any number has been retired higher than that for the last several years.
The Mets haven't retired Turk Wendell's number 99.
They did not retire Turk Wendell's number 99.
Can't believe that.
Popped up, foul territory. Wainwright racing over there, and what a nice play by Adams. He's made a couple of nice plays at first base tonight, sliding right in front of the Cardinals dugout, and Wainwright has a 1-2-3 inning. No score as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Cards. Support your Cy Young winner by spending this Saturday afternoon in Keuchel's Corner, presented by Houston Methodist. This package scores you a ticket, beard, and Keuchel's Corner t-shirt. For more info, visit astros.com/Keuchel's Corner or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Speaking of really cool places to watch the game, there's actually a lot of really fun seats to watch the Cardinals game outside of the ballpark. I'm at one of them, Cardinals Nation rooftop up here. Outside of the ballpark, like I mentioned, this is a part of Ballpark Village that opened just before opening day in 2014. So this is very new. It's where the old Busch Stadium used to be as well. But there's a lot of things you can do out here for fans, but catching the game is one, but there's a museum out here, lots of restaurants. I think there's even a cowboy bar with a mechanical bull in here somewhere. But a really cool place to enjoy the game. If you don't have a ticket, of course, these games sell out pretty easily here in St. Louis. A big fan base, but a very cool spot. It's not much cooler up here, I can tell you that. It's still very warm. But I'm wondering what the Cubs fans think about these rooftop seats.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks very much like what you have across the street, the rooftops at Wrigley Field.
I wasn't going to say it.
Just going to hint at it. We'll take it and run with it, because that's a definite copy.
Hit hard by Carpenter, and he has his second hit of the game. Second straight inning, the Cardinals get the leadoff man on. As McHugh got ahead of Carpenter, unable to finish him off, however. But that is pretty neat. I've had a couple of fans, Astros fans, who've come out to St. Louis, send me pictures of the view of the field from those rooftops that they have at Ballpark Village here. Pretty cool. And
it's a great view from where I am.
Definitely. And you know what? If you're bored by the game, you can just go in there and ride the mechanical bull, Julia.
Right.
Yeah.
I was actually trying to just get that in for Blummer.
Yeah, how do we not get out there and have a little competition, a little bull riding competition?
I'm out.
Come on.
1-0 to Brandon Moss. Cardinals got a leadoff double from Stephen Piscotty in the 5th inning. It's the first time they had a runner at second base tonight, and Piscotty wound up getting thrown out at home on a great play by George Springer after Peralta singled. Cardinals with 3 hits in the 5th and no runs, as McHugh was able to strand the bases loaded. Hit pretty well by Moss. Springer makes the running grab. 1 away. Springer, a good jump on that ball.
Remember how you were talking earlier in the game about Colin McHugh using his off speed to get ahead early in counts? You see a number right here. In 0-0 counts in this game, Colin McHugh has thrown his fastball 3 of 20 times.
Wow.
How about that?
Gives you an idea, a pretty clear idea of what his game plan was against this lineup.
Heard it a lot, that pitching backwards, starting with the off speed, finishing guys off, or finishing off ABs with the fastball.
First pitch to Holiday. Foul tips that into the glove.
Now you can say 4 for 21.
4 for 21, that's right. And that just opens up so many more avenues for you as you get later in the game. Get to that lineup a second time, a third time in this case.
Well, to that point, I think it plants a seed inside the hitter's head. If you could throw that off speed early in the count for a strike, then you could throw a fastball for a strike. There, immediately you've told the hitter that you could throw 2 pitches in the strike zone.
Right.
Because as a hitter, you're trying to eliminate 1 pitch or a side of the plate, try and narrow things down in your approach against certain pitchers. Then you go out there and face a guy like Colin McHugh tonight, and he expands that thought process because he's commanding off speed in the zone.
2-1 now to Holiday. Yeah, that's what a lot of hitting is, isn't it? Just trying to eliminate certain pitches, eliminate a side of the plate in some instances. And when you're facing one of the good ones, or a guy who's really on his game, it's really tough to do that. Behind in the count, which has not been a common occurrence tonight. Driven pretty well to right by Holiday. Springer hauls it in, and might have a chance to double off the runner, and not in time. They may take a look at that one.
They've got to look. Again, are you kidding me with Springer?
Showing off that arm tonight. Outfield assist in the 5th. A.J. Hinch on the top step, thinking about looking at that play at first base. So Springer feeling for the wall.
Tell you what, off the bat, Colin McHugh, watching his reaction, he put his head down. He thought that ball was getting out of here. And the way Matt Holliday left the box, he thought he got it too.
Carpenter was all the way to second base when that ball was caught. And the Astros will not challenge. So now it's up to Piscotty. One and 0. You know, Carpenter, the leadoff hitter for this Cardinals team, but he does not have a stolen base this year. Doesn't have an attempt. As you've seen that role, the leadoff hitter, really evolve over the years. I mean, it's always nice to have a guy in that leadoff spot who can steal some bases. Astros certainly have that with George Springer. But Carpenter in that role more because of the way he gets on base and the way he takes pitches. Sees a lot of pitches per plate appearance. Cardinals aren't too concerned about whether Carpenter runs or not. They're next to last in the National League in stolen bases. Only 16 steals on the year for St. Louis. This is their 65th game of the season. Astros, meanwhile, lead the American League in steals. Good breaking ball. And Piscotty out in front. I've really been impressed with tonight is how even when McHugh's gotten in a little trouble, he still stayed on the attack, still been aggressive.
I agree. It's good to see. Showing a lot more poise out there, not giving in.
Now trying to finish off Piscotty. And he does. Castro gets the out at first base. And nice job working around a leadoff single by Carpenter. No score through 6.
Astros and Cardinals as we go to the top of the 7th, but there was a huge score on the Astros Stro poll this evening. Which NL Central rivalry do you miss the most? There you go. 73% for the St. Louis Cardinals Astros rivalry.
And I don't think it was just because of the regular season games too. It was also the 2 postseason appearances, playoff series against each other in 04 and 05.
That is an excellent point.
Cardinals got the better of the Astros in 04, but it was the Astros that were victorious in 2005. Correa looks at one upstairs. Both starting pitchers have been on top of their games tonight. Adam Wainwright and Colin McHugh. Just 3 hits for the Astros, 5 for the Cardinals. 2-0. Wainwright has also walked 3 in this ball game. Only the 4th time this year he's walked more than one in a start. This is his 14th start of the season. Correa seemed a little surprised that was called a strike, but it's 2-1.
See what our strike zone says. Yeah, I have to be on the side of Carlos Correa in that situation.
And chases one off the plate away. Wainwright coming in, having won 7 straight starts against the Astros. 13-1 against Houston all time. Only Yvonne Gallardo has more victories against the Astros among active pitchers. Still 2-2 to Correa. But the Astros facing Wainwright for the first time in 3 years. Wainwright getting off to a slow start this season. But he's been much better as the year has progressed. Peralta, or rather Diaz, backhands, not in time. Diaz showing off his range, and if it had been anybody else running, might have gotten the out. But instead, it's an infield hit for Correa.
Man, isn't that the truth? Good job in a 2-strike count, putting that ball in play firm towards that hole. Diaz made a phenomenal play to get there. Carlos Correa continuing to hustle, though, even though he's in the middle of a mild slump.
Also gives you an idea that that left ankle is healed up.
It's even better news.
Right, that he sprained on Thursday in Arlington. Missed the Tampa Bay series over the weekend dealing with that ankle injury. Now it's Colby Rasmus. He did damage against his old team last night. Had the go-ahead homer in the 5th and 2 hits. 1 hit so far tonight. Adams with a nice play. 2 out. Matt Adams has played an exceptional game defensively tonight. And how about the accurate throw to second base despite being off balance?
You know, at first glance, you see Matt Adams. He is a massive human being, but he moves at first base extremely well. Doesn't get very far off first base after holding on Carlos Correa. Does a good job of corralling that Colby Rasmus ground ball. Steps on first, makes a good throw.
It's the 3rd double play the Astros have hit into tonight. Ball 1 to Valbuena. Hard hit single his last time. Wainwright falls a little further behind. Now at 90 pitches for the game. Both bullpens quiet at the moment. Good slow breaking ball. Wainwright has thrown as many as 108 pitches in his start this year. Threw just 78 pitches in his last start Thursday in Cincinnati over 6 innings. Was lifted for a pinch hitter when the Cardinals were trying to rally. Two and 2 on the high fastball. Valbuena not happy with himself for offering at that pitch. Scotty waiting for it. Inning over. Wainwright, the leadoff single, gets Rasmus to hit into a double play, and still no score.
look back
Darryl
at.
Kyle, one of the more talented pitchers in Astros history, also pitched for the Cardinals. That no-hitter in '93. And gone way too soon. It's the last individual no-hitter that Kyle threw against the Mets in '93. It was the last individual no-hitter by an Astros pitcher until Mike Fiers no-hit the Dodgers last year. Kyle passing away at the age of 33, 2002. Still looking for first runs tonight. Matt Adams facing an 0-1 count.
Darryl Kyle had one of the best curveballs. Well, I can go ahead and say it. He had the best curveball I've ever seen. I had the misfortune of facing him several times. But he had a really short stride, and when he came at you, he would plant that front leg and he'd do such a good job of getting over the front side, which allowed him to get on top of that curveball and pull straight down, and that thing would just snap hook straight down from your chest down to your toes. It almost felt like, it was going down a wall. It didn't like have any, depth coming through the zone. It just like got to the hitting zone and went straight down. Tough guy to square up. And I happened to be on the Astros ball club with Biggio and Bagwell, who were teammates of Darryl Kyle at the time. And it was devastating news just for baseball alone. But in that clubhouse, to be near Baggy, Biggio, Shane Reynolds was on that team. I think Billy Wagner was friends with him too. So there was some connection there, and those guys were absolutely crushed to hear that he had passed away. And I remember that day because we had a moment of silence, and I don't think Baggy and Biggio, that was the first time I think all year that those guys decided not to play in a baseball game.
Wow.
Just because of how close they were to Darryl. And they were weeping openly during that moment of silence and during the national anthem. So that was a tough time for Major League Baseball, and Darryl Kyle was one of those guys that was truly loved by a lot of teammates.
Cardinals were in Chicago to play the Cubs. As Adams down on strikes, 6 strikeout for McHugh. And Darryl Kyle wasn't at the ballpark, started searching for him, found him dead in his hotel room. Died suddenly, 33 years old. I've actually talked to people who were at Wrigley Field the day that happened, and it was a surreal scene because the start of the game was delayed. Nobody knew what was going on. No information was given to the folks in the stands or to much of the media as to what was happening. And then several of the players on both teams came out onto the field to let the fans know what had happened and that they weren't going to be playing a baseball game that day. And I believe it was something like they were waiting about an hour or so.
Yeah. They handled it very professionally, and eventually Joe Girardi, who was the manager of the Cubs at the time, came out, like you said, with both teams on the field behind him and had to break the news to a sold-out Wrigley crowd, which is unheard of.
Yeah, without a doubt. Certainly missed Darryl Kyle.
33. I mean, he had plenty left in the tank as far as pitching in the major leagues.
No question. 2-1 now to Peralta. Colin McHugh, after throwing that complete game against the Diamondbacks, first of his career, back on May 30th. Last 2 starts had gone 9 innings combined.
Speaking of curveballs, there you get a good look at Colin McHugh's on that Supermo coming out of that hand. Good break. Good deception. And I'm reminded by Bobby Dynamite, who was up in the train at Minute Maid Park.
Sure.
Had a good point that I completely forgot about. Jeff Bagwell had a walk-off game-winning hit in that game that he did not play because Darryl Kyle passed away.
How about that? How
Pretty
about
emotional.
That? And he had to have been thinking of him as he got that hit.
Oh, absolutely.
Full count to Peralta. skied on the infield. Worth makes the call and the catch. 2 outs. Have action in the bullpen for the first time tonight as Kevin Segras is up for St. Louis. And it looks like we'll get some activity now in the Astros pen as well. Michael Phillies just started playing catch. So both starters getting near the end of the line. Next pitch will be the 90th for McHugh. As you get a look at Phillies, who got up last night as well, but did not get into the game. Pitcher spot due up 2 spots after Yadier Molina, batting now for St. Louis. 1-0. Nine combined hits tonight, 4 of them by the Astros. Very well pitched ball game. And that'll be the 10th hit of the game. As Molina is on with 2 out. Second hit of the night for Yadier. And now you have the number 8 hitter Diaz coming to the plate. And you can't assume that the pitcher's going to bat after him. Probably not. So not a situation where you don't pitch really to the 8 hitters. Now Brent Strom will go out and talk with Colin McHugh.
And we are in the National League, so it would be great for A.J. Hinch to see Colin McHugh get through this inning, just because the pitcher's spot, Colin McHugh's spot now, is coming up third that next inning in the 8th. So he would like to see him push through, get this out. Therefore, he wouldn't have to try and double switch or only use a pitcher for 1 inning.
Yeah, without a doubt, things get much more complicated should McHugh not get out of this inning. You know, Brent Strom told me that his dream would be to have one of the Clydesdales take him out to the mound here at St. Louis. And I think he was serious. I said, "Do you think you could get him? He could get you there in 30 seconds?" And he said, "Well, he'd really have to gallop."
That is hilarious. Brent Strom thinking right there.
Tony Sipp has joined Michael Phillies now in the Astros bullpen. Came on and got a big out last night. Sipp did. And Greg Garcia has moved into the on-deck circle, a hit for the pitcher Wainwright. One and one. These are the situations too, Blummer, where pitchers will talk about emptying the tank. They know they're not much longer for this game, so just put it out all on the line right now.
Hey, this is it. I guarantee you Strom went out there and said, "Hey kid, this is it, air it out. Anything you've got left, go for it."
2-1.
Just hope he doesn't try and overthrow it. Still execute those pitches, but know that this is the end of the line for Colin McHugh. Get those Astros back in that dugout.
You know, with the left-handed Greg Garcia on deck, and then Matt Carpenter and Brandon Moss, top 2 hitters left-handed. Could see Sipp after Diaz. Now it's 3-1.
Pretty good pitch.
It was a pretty good pitch. Currently a bit low.
Good job by Diaz not chasing after that.
Jeff Kellogg getting that one right. Crew chief of this 4-man crew. Big pitch here. Ball 4. Second walk issued by McHugh. Both of them have been to Diaz. He walked him intentionally in the 5th. And it looks like McHugh's going to get a chance to pitch to Greg Garcia, the pinch hitter, left-handed hitter. But I'd imagine that this would be the last batter for McHugh. Couldn't see A.J. leaving him on to face Carpenter and Moss with the lefty Sipp. If he's not ready, he's close to being ready. Greg Garcia started at shortstop last night and was 0 for 3. Starts him off with a breaking ball.
Good start getting ahead. Coming off the bench and pinch hitting. The mentality is trying to hunt that heater early in the count. You don't get it, that pitcher gets ahead early with that off-speed pitch. Kind of puts you in a little bit of a hole.
When you think about the really great pinch hitters over the years, whether you talk about someone like John Vander Wal for many years with the Rockies, or Lenny Harris, who did it for a bunch of teams, almost all of those guys hunted the fastball early in the count. If they got it, they were hacking.
It's not fun sitting around for 2 hours and trying to hit something with a wrinkle in it.
One and one to Garcia. And McHugh falls behind.
Gosh, hit his spot too. Jason Castro didn't have to move that glove much.
And again, I think this is going to be the last hitter for McHugh, regardless of the outcome of this plate appearance. The lineup turning over.
You really would like to see McHugh finish it off right here, because after Garcia, you're going to see two left-handers in Matt Carpenter and Brandon Moss. He would like to use Tony Sipp for more than one hitter. Whereas if he comes in relief, if Garcia gets on to face Matt Carpenter, gets him out, unless A.J. Hinch double switches, you're going to see Tony Sipp for just one batter.
Right, because the pitcher spot is due to lead off, or due up third rather, in the top of the 8th for the Astros. Big pitch here. Missed with a breaking ball. So now the runners will be in motion.
2 outs, runners in motion, puts pressure on the defense. They will have to make that long throw across the diamond to get the out.
It's Molina at second and Diaz at first for St. Louis. Garcia steps out. Garcia, son of a longtime scout, ready and waiting. Hit hard, past Altuve. Springer up with it quickly. And Diaz is safe. Or Molina, beg your pardon. Diaz goes to third. Greg Garcia with a big pinch hit to break the scoreless tie. And now that's going to be all for Colin McHugh.
It's a bullet off the bat of Greg Garcia. George Springer came up throwing, made a great throw to home plate. Castro did a good job of picking it, but remember, in that situation, Molina was off with the pitch, so he had a bit of a head start heading home.
Tony Sipp coming into the game for the Astros as Colin McHugh's night is done after 6 2/3. Colin McHugh giving up the pinch hit RBI single to Greg Garcia. And now out of this ball game. Cardinals didn't score in the 5th, in part because of a great throw by George Springer to get it out at the plate. And now it's Tony Sipp for the Astros.
Tony on in his 29th game. He's got a save on the year. See those numbers you both get against lefties and righties. Last time Tony was out here was yesterday. Got himself a hold going a 1/3 of an inning.
He's in with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Matt Carpenter at the plate. Garcia with a base hit, moved to 2nd on the throw home by Springer. Sipp facing Brandon Moss in last night's game, striking him out. Moss, the on-deck hitter for the Cardinals. Able to get the breaking ball over to make it 1-1. Seager still up in the Cardinals bullpen. Looks like the Astros will see him in the top of the 8th inning. At the bottom 1/3 of the order up. Likely a pinch hitter in that 3rd batter of the inning, Sipp spot. Two and 1. Nothing but breaking balls to Carpenter thus far. He's not throwing him a fastball.
Trying to get him to roll over into that shift just off the edges of the plate. Carpenter not biting, forcing Tony Sipp to get back in that strike zone.
And on the hands, long run for Rasmus, and the inning is over. Finally did throw him a fastball and got an out. Cardinals take the lead on Greg Garcia's RBI single.
Is presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
Welcome you back to Busch Stadium. 1-0 Cardinals now leading the Astros top of the 8th, and we'll see Carlos Gomez up here A.J. Hinch talking about him earlier, saying he's handling the breaking balls much better, and his confidence is starting to grow with that. And he's always going to have that exuberant style at the plate, and they're not going to try to take that away from him. But putting together good at-bats here lately, and everyone's noticed the spectacles that Gomez has been wearing. Those are prescription. You know, a big part of picking up breaking balls is depth perception, and in wearing these, it's a little bit clearer, a little bit better than wearing regular contacts. So he is trying to wear these. It's an adjustment. He says they're kind of bugging him a little bit when he has to wipe the sweat and stuff. So it's something he's having to get used to, but he's trying, and it's definitely helping him, guys.
All right, so we do solve that mystery. They are prescription. And whatever Gomez is doing, it's been working lately. 2 hits yesterday, a walk tonight, and not chasing nearly as much as Julia mentioned over the last few days. Kevin Seagrass, the new pitcher.
29th game. It's got doing a great job with runners in scoring position, which is key for guys coming out of the bullpen, because sometimes they find themselves in situations with inherited runners.
Hit sharply through the left side, and Gomez is on the lead off here in the top of the 8th. By the way, some defensive changes for the Cardinals as well. Brandon Moss has moved over to left field. Jeremy Hazelbaker now in center, and Stephen Piscotty is in right. And now we'll have Marwin Gonzalez coming up as a pinch hitter for the Astros, replacing Castro. So Marwin get an opportunity here. 2 for 3 with an RBI double yesterday, hitting .406 on this road trip, and he's done a nice job in that pinch hitting role. And Evan Gattis on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher. Lifted to left center. The new center fielder Hazelbaker's there, makes the catch.
Houston Methodist brings us our league leaders. We're going to look at the AL wildcard race. Red Sox and Blue Jays in those 2 wildcard spots. Behind them, the Mariners at a half game, tied with the Royals. Creep on down there, the Astros 4.5 back in that wildcard race. It's early, but it's fun to look at.
It certainly is. Trail in the division by 9.5 coming into tonight to the Rangers, 3rd place. It's now Gattis pinch hitting for Tony Sipp. Gattis 0 for his last 15. Gomez back easily. Astros with double-barreled action in their bullpen right now. Michael Feliz and Ken Giles both getting loose. Feliz was up last inning as well. Base. Gomez 7 steals and 9 attempts on the year. Molina, fantastic throwing catcher, threw out Jose Altuve trying to steal in the 4th inning. Pitch out, nothing's happening. Cardinals closer Trevor Rosenthal is now throwing in their bullpen. So the wheel certainly in motion on both sides in this 1-0 game. Gomez getting plenty of attention from Seagrass. Already seen the Cardinals pitch out.
Gomez stole a bag last night against Jaime Garcia and Molina.
Two 2-0. Gattis working himself into a favorable count.
Love to see Segrist pay a little more attention to Gomez and take his focus off the hitter, and Evan Gattis maybe leave a fastball up out over the plate, let Gattis drive it.
Snap throw over to first base, and they got him. So Segrist showing Gomez a different move there, and Carlos Gomez picked off first base. A.J. Hinch on the top step may challenge. But right now, 2 outs in the inning. Yeah, that's not even close.
Just hope that that wasn't in the scouting report on Segrist, that he has that step off move.
Well, he had been showing Gomez a much more casual move before that, and then showed him the A move to pick him off. 2-1 now to Gattis. Now Gattis trying to make something happen with 2 outs. 3-1. Having a good at bat here. Such a big key to this Astros lineup when he's producing. Not get the start tonight. Was catching yesterday. Ball 4. Nice to bat against Segrist, and the Astros have a 2-out base runner for Springer.
Join us for Father's Day at Minute Maid Park this Sunday the 19th. 10,000 fans in attendance get Astros socks presented by Houston Methodist. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Jeff Blum looking forward to getting those socks to put in his Astros gym bag that he's also going to get this weekend.
Yeah, according to Julia, I need some fresh socks.
Springer looking to get on, do some damage. 0 for his last 14. Nothing in 1. Segrist has really been a big key to the Cardinals. That bridge to their closer Rosenthal. He and Sungwon Oh, the 2 main relievers, will go to in the 7th and 8th innings when they're ahead. That's hit pretty well and pretty deep to right center field. Long run for Piscotty and Hazelbaker, and that ball's gone. George Springer, a go-ahead 2-run home run. 2-1 Astros.
That is absolutely overwhelming a baseball right there by George Springer. Off-speed pitch that you're able to drive out to the opposite field. That is some big-time man strength from George Springer, who has been having a heck of a game on the defensive side. Now adds some of that offensive power to it. Here's a good look at it. Breaking ball just flattened out, center cut, and George Springer leans back on it. That is a strong man doing some powerful things right there, picking up Colin McHugh.
0-1 to Danny Worth. Springer's 15th home run, now has 40 RBIs as Piscotty trying to rob it, but could not. 5th home run Segrist has allowed this year. 1-1. And that's how you break out of an 0 for 14.
Man, you ain't lying. Do it with some damage. That was impressive.
Two balls and a strike now to Danny Worth. 399 feet, the estimated distance on that home run by Springer.
For me, that's what makes Springer so special, is he's not trying to overwhelm the baseball right there. That's just pure natural ability with the mentality of staying up through the center of the ballpark.
Hit on the infield. Carpenter, he can't see it, and Diaz able to pick up the slack. Great play by Diaz once he realized Carpenter wasn't going to be able to get it. George Springer. He hits one that Piscotty can't get. Go ahead, 2-run home run. As the Astros will make a couple of changes. A new battery, Evan Gattis pinch hitting after Castro was pinch hit for. So Gattis now behind the plate for a new pitcher, Ken Giles.
Ken Giles in the game, making his 31st appearance. Getting the opportunity tonight to close out this ball game here in St. Louis and make it a happy flight home. That middle line is a very good line to see from Ken Giles. We talked about it last night when he came in the ball game. We have seen a very good commanding slider from Ken Giles, which I think, I'm sure Robert agrees, makes that fastball at 97 plus miles an hour that much better.
It certainly does. By the way, Marwin Gonzalez will also stay in the game at first base. See Springer, who hit the go-ahead homer. Moss takes a slider in the dirt. So Gattis now catching and Marwin playing at first. The Astros trying to sweep this mini 2-game series from the St. Louis Cardinals. Fouls it back. 98 miles an hour on that last fastball. Seen that velocity climb for Giles as the year has progressed. Start of the season, he was around 95. Now consistently seeing him in the upper 90s. I've seen him touch triple digits a handful of times. Hit hard. Valbuena, only infielder on that side, makes a nice play to get the out. I think it really helps when the Astros do these shifts, Plummer, that they have a guy like Valbuena who came up as a second baseman, played a lot of shortstop coming up, and he can handle any ball hit to him on that side.
Yeah, he's not intimidated at all on that defensive side. Really got to appreciate what he does normally at third base, but able to push him off the line to get him in the right spot to make that play is pretty nice.
Now it's Jeremy Hazelbaker, came on to play center field last inning. Hazelbaker a pinch hit single last night. And he fouls the first pitch off, being aggressive on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Both starting pitchers pitched brilliantly. Neither one of them will figure in the decision tonight, however. As Adam Wainwright, he won't get his 14th win against the Astros. He had come in and won 7 straight starts against Houston. Excellent play by Correa, making the adjustment. And Hazelbaker's the second out. Started in, then went back.
Playing to Win is brought to you by Toyota Tundra. Colin McHugh had himself a night. Came in with a game plan, made some adjustments in that delivery, and it paid off. Did a good job of moving that fastball in and out. Also had the cutter, good breaking ball. We even saw a couple of changeups mixed in there, but did a great job of keeping St. Louis Cardinal hitters off balance. 7 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 punch outs on a great night for Colin McHugh, bouncing back from that rough one in Texas.
Swing and a miss by Stephen Piscotty. Move to right field in the top half of the 8th inning. One and one. Giles has been getting better and better as the year has progressed. And with Luke Gregerson on that family medical emergency leave list, means everyone else in the bullpen has to step it up a little bit more. What an awkward looking swing by Piscotty on that slider.
Well, you're sitting on 100 miles an hour and a guy snaps a slider like that. It's pretty good. And I apologize. I said it was a safe situation earlier when he came in. I got a little excited from George's home run.
Well, if he stays in the game.
Yeah.
Finishes it. Although that's unlikely. Did he go around? He did not, says Scott Barry.
Good pitch in a 1-2 count, though. Keep it off that edge, break it off. Almost got Piscotty to chase after it.
It is so hard to account for that slider because of how hard Giles throws that fastball. And that just makes that slider play up even better.
And the thing about it, too, is that it coming out of Ken Giles' hand, that slider comes out on the same plane as the fastball. That's what makes it even harder, too. It doesn't have that jump out of the top of the hand where you can recognize break early. It is still on that same plane, and by the time you recognize it, is snapping out of the zone.
Full count to Piscotty. Long run for Springer. And he won't have a play.
99 on that fastball.
When they show the pitch speed here at Busch Stadium, and it's a pitch that's in the upper 90s, you see flames shooting out behind the pitch speed, and there have been flames shooting behind every fastball pitch speed of Ken Giles tonight. Ball 4. Third walk by Astros pitchers tonight. And now it's the dangerous Matt Adams.
Giles tried to snap that slider right there. Just overthrew it.
And A.J. Hinch. This isn't a pitching change. This is A.J. He wants to deliver a message to Ken Giles and Jason Castro, or beg your pardon, Evan Gattis right here. Gattis replacing Castro this inning. And I think, Lumber, this is probably about how to pitch Adams here.
Yeah, usually it is reinforcing the positive for A.J. Hinch, going out there and confirming that, Ken, you have a very good fastball. You have a very good slider. Even though this guy is left-handed, stay with your command, stay on the edges, and execute the pitch that Gattis puts down.
Adams, one of many dangerous hitters in this Cardinals lineup. 9 homers. Cardinals second in the National League, or first in the National League actually now in homers, with 87 coming into tonight. Piscotty's back easily. Piscotty 3 steals and 8 attempts, not exactly efficient. No one on this Cardinals team has more than 4 steals. Mentioned earlier, next to last in the National League in stolen bases. 0-1. Started him off with a slider.
That's good to see. Evan Gattis put down that sign for the slider, give that confidence back to Ken Giles that he can throw that thing for a strike after walking Hazelbaker on that slider up. Or Piscotty, I apologize.
Shallow left. Valbuena calling off Rasmus. Inning over. So Giles does a nice job working around the 2-out walk. Still a 2-1 ball game.
Game is delivered to you by Jimmy John's. George Springer's been having himself a night. This is a big play right here on a drop shot off the bat of Johnny Peralta. The spin move and the laser to home plate. Huge play early on this game to pick up Colin McHugh, and then right here gets Colin McHugh off the hook, driving that slider out the other way. You see the excitement from this young man, knowing that he has done it all, both offensively and defensively in this ball game, to help the Astros to this 2-1 lead.
Fantastic game for George Springer. And the Cardinals, down by a run going to the 9th inning, will bring in their closer, Trevor Rosenthal, one of the better closers in baseball.
Yeah, he can bring a little bit of noise himself.
It'll be Altuve to lead things off. He looks at a strike. Jose extending his hit streak to 7 games with his base hit in the first inning. Rosenthal replacing Kevin Segrist, who is on the hook right now, giving up the go-ahead 2-run blast to Springer. That's hit hard by Altuve, and he has another multi-hit game.
Ho hum.
91 hits on the year for Jose Altuve. You know, Altuve has more multi-hit games in his career than he has games in which he has gone hitless.
It's a good number.
It is a good number. Rosenthal pitching for the first time in 4 days. Matheny wanting to get him some work. Last pitch Saturday in Pittsburgh. It's inside, but he went around, says Scott Barry at first. One of the things that makes it tricky, both the Astros and Cardinals in a stretch where they have 2 off days over 4 days. Both teams are off Monday, and both will be off tomorrow. And what it does is, you know, you get into situations, you want to make sure you get your bullpen guys, keep them fresh. If there weren't the 2 off days in 4 days, if there wasn't the off day tomorrow, I don't know that Matheny goes to Rosenthal here. But doesn't want him to be sitting for too long.
It's a great point.
Cardinals on Friday open up a series against the Texas Rangers here. That's hit sharply by Correa. Altuve trying to go to third. Piscotty's throw not nearly in time. Excellent base running by Altuve. You could tell he was thinking first to third as soon as that ball was hit. Second hit for Correa.
Altuve plays this game hard. Reminds me of the way he goes first to third, a lot of what Jeff Bagwell would do. Takes great routes, is willing to challenge outfielders on their throws. But you could see as soon as he realized that was going to be a base hit, he put his head down and decided he is going to make it to third base. We talked about it earlier in the game. Not many great arms in that outfield for the Cardinals.
Infield comes in for Rasmus, who has a hit tonight. Astros would love to pick up some insurance runs. 0-1. Will Harris warming in the Astros bullpen, preparing for a safe chance in the bottom of the ninth. Peralta, Molina, and Diaz will be due up for the Cardinals in the bottom of the ninth. Looking ahead.
You know, we can talk about being aggressive like Jose Altuve was right there, but you can also talk smarts and some instincts, knowing that a big insurance run is now 90 feet away.
That's right. 0-2. Now here's a situation where you just want to be able to put the ball in play. Infield in, nobody out, runner at third. And Rasmus has gotten the job done almost half the time.
I'd like to see that number a little bit higher.
Sure.
Those runners at third base, less than 2 outs. The mentality as a hitter is to drive something to the outfield.
And Rasmus down on strikes.
Hard to do when a guy's throwing 97, painting the outside corner.
So 1 out. Infield will remain in more than likely. For Valbuena, at least remain in at third. See, the middle infielders are going to back up. Look for that double play. Valbuena with a single in the fifth, moved to third base in the bottom half of the eighth inning. And now Molina go out to the mound. Here comes Mike Matheny. They're going to go over the situation here.
You got first and third. You got 1 out. And again, we've seen this situation played out by the Houston Astros where a bunt is a possibility in a safety squeeze type situation. So it might be a talk if you see Valbuena square around. It's going to be, well, the pressure is going to be put on Matt Adams to break from first, because that's where Valbuena would try and put the bunt.
Valbuena has shown himself to be a very good bunter. It's a tool he's added to his arsenal more this year, bunting against a lot of the shifts that he sees.
We can see from that angle, you can look down here at first base. You can see Matt Adams is not exactly holding the base runner on accordingly at first base.
1-0. Jonathan Broxton is up in the Cardinals pen. That's probably just insurance for Mike Matheny in case Rosenthal throws quite a few pitches.
That's what I'm talking about over there. Normally holding the base runner on right on the base, but he is not. He's well off, possibly anticipating the potential bunt.
Nothing happening. Now Valbuena in the driver's seat at 2-0.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. 1-0 counts are usually the action counts on for the offenses, because they know the pitchers are going to try and throw a strike in that situation. But knowing that, I think Mike Matheny was trying to maybe outthink what A.J. Hinch was trying to do. Now Valbuena has a 2-0 count.
Now 2-1.
And 2-1 again is an action count also, because the pitcher does not want to fall behind 3-1. Be nice if Rosenthal could make a mistake and throw a fastball down in the zone, because that happens to be a spot where Valbuena has a tendency to go down and get it.
Get that ball in the air.
Yep.
Three and one.
Really got to lock in on a pitch you know you can drive to the outfield if you're Luis Valbuena. Got himself in a good spot.
Just trying to get that runner in from third. Doesn't see anything that he can drive, takes the walk, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. And now Carlos Gomez will try his hand. Gomez a single in the 8th inning.
And swinging the bat better of late. You can see he has some experience against Rosenthal, playing in Milwaukee Brewers organization in the National League Central.
Middle infielders will creep in a little bit now. Trying to crowd him.
Good take. Tell you what, Carlos Gomez with the rec specs on at home plate, not too bad.
No, not at all. He may throw those contact lenses away from here on out.
I might help him.
2 balls and no strikes. Rosenthal can't throw a strike right now.
And the key for Gomez is to realize what you just said and really narrow down on a part of that home plate and a pitch that he can drive to the outfield again. Don't expand.
Another good take by Gomez as Rosenthal doesn't get the call. Hit sharply into right field. Altuve scores. Correa coming home. Throw to the plate, not nearly in time. Carlos Gomez with a clutch 2-run single, and the Astros lead is 4-1.
Attaboy, Rex Specs getting it done. How about that? Green light, 3-0 count, doesn't get too big, trying to do too much, gets on top of the ball, drives it the other way. 2 more insurance runs. Beautiful at bat by Carlos Gomez. Watch him get on top of this baseball, not trying to do too much. Man, that's a beautiful piece of hitting in a tough situation.
So Trevor Rosenthal's night has come to an end. Retires only 1 hitter. Jonathan Broxton coming in. We'll be back. Gomez helping the Astros add to their lead here in the 9th inning. And Trevor Rosenthal out. Jonathan Broxton in.
28th appearance. Big right-hander's been around for a while. Doing a good job in those last 7 games, holding opponents to an .091 batting average. He's been around long enough, Robert, that I actually have a couple ABs off of him.
How'd you do?
A couple of knocks here and there.
here and there.
Yeah. He was with the LA Dodgers when I faced him.
And this guy, especially when he first came up, threw about as hard as anyone.
He was like he was the beginning of that phase of relievers that just all of a sudden figured out how to throw 97+ miles an hour with a turbo slider.
Had 36 saves with the Dodgers in 2009. He's also pitched for the Royals, Reds, Brewers. Acquired in a trade from Milwaukee by the Cardinals last year. Cardinals re-upping him to a 2-year extension this past offseason. 1-1. George Springer, the go-ahead 2-run home run in the top of the 8th after the Cardinals had scored the game's first run in the 7th. And a chance for the Astros to do even more damage here in the 9th inning. Still only 1 out and 2 men on. Laced into center field, but that is right at Hazelbaker for the 2nd out. By the way, Jeff Blum, you were 2 for 6 with 3 walks and 2 strikeouts against Jonathan Broxton.
Yes.
Hey, after I called you out and said you were 0 for 3 last time the Astros beat Adam Wainwright.
You owed me.
I'm picking you up.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Pat Neshek
law of averages.
Pat Neshek warming next to Will Harris. It would be Neshek if it's no longer a save situation, which would be the case if the Astros get another run. Harris picked up his 4th save of the year last night. Who was when you think about some of the tougher pitchers in the game when you played, Blummer, who was the one that you handled the best that you can remember?
I got Kurt Schilling.
Okay.
Pretty good. Smoltz. It wasn't until later in Greg Maddox's career that I actually started to get a couple hits off him, but he was filthy. He'd just screw you into the ground, just toying with your brain and your swing.
Some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
Got a couple of Hall of Famers in there.
It's crazy how this game works out. Face some guys that are a flash in the pan, you can't get a hit off them, and then you face a guy like Kurt Schilling 20 times and you actually get some knocks off him.
Hit foul.
Oh, there we go.
Look at the guys in the truck taking care of you, Blummer.
Man, I appreciate them so much. Next round's on me, boys. Yeah, I didn't realize Aaron Harang. Wow.
You really handled him well.
Yeah, he's a multiple offender in my book, too. When I talk about book, when I say offender in my book, that means home runs.
Right. Baseball expression, when the guy's in your book, means you've taken him deep.
Yep. Jeff Supan. Man, there was one day in Milwaukee. Woo. Ed Yost left him in a little bit too long.
You took advantage, huh?
Oh, did I?
3-1 now to Gaddis. Doug Glanville, outfielder for several teams in the 90s, early 2000s. He came out with a book a few years ago, and he took that expression, a pitcher is in your book, literally. He listed in the back of that book every pitcher he homered off of, with notes on several of the home runs if he remembered them.
Are you kidding me?
Yep, they were literally in his book.
That's awesome. That's impressive.
So when you write that autobiography, Blummer,
yep,
you already know what the appendix is going to be.
Got to have a couple pages in there. I like it.
Runners will be going with the pitch. Good to see the Astros have some success against some of the Cardinals' better relievers. Springer, the 2-run home run off Segrist. Trevor Rosenthal scuffling in his 3rd of an inning. He's responsible for the 2 runners on. Gaddis, he hasn't even played the whole game, and you can see the sweat soaking through his road gray jersey. 95 degrees, the game time temperature today. Hit pretty well to center. Hazelbaker runs it down, and the inning is over. But the Astros pick up a couple of insurance runs on Gomez's 2-run single. And the Astros have a 3-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th. By Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Toyota, let's go places. Well, the Astros certainly going places in the late innings tonight, scoring 4 times over the last 2 innings. And they hand a 3-run lead with 3 outs left to get to Will Harris.
There's Will Harris coming on. Perfect in those save situations. Did a great job out of that bullpen overall. Earned the right to come into that save situation. Luke Gregerson is still away from the team, taking care of some things at home with the family. Wish him well. But how about Will Harris? 17 hits allowed, all of them singles.
And he'll start off with Johnny Peralta, who's 1 for 3 tonight. Nothing in 1. Astros trying to take their first series from the Cardinals since moving to the American League. Astros and Cardinals played interleague play 2013. Astros first year in the AL. St. Louis split 2 games at Minute Maid Park and won both games the 2 teams played that year here at Busch Stadium. 1-1. Astros have an interleague series coming up over the weekend with Cincinnati. 2013 was also the last time they faced the Reds. In there for a strike, got the breaking ball over.
Wow, that was filthy.
It sure was. I was talking with AJ Hinch a couple of weeks ago about Will Harris and his breaking ball, and AJ made a really good point about, when you think about late inning relievers, usually they'll have, if they're going to have a breaking ball, it'll be a slider or a splitter. You'll see some guys with really good change-ups, but you don't see too many guys, AJ Hinch was pointing out, with that great overhand curveball who are setup relievers late in games or closers late in games.
That is very true. Not considered one of those power pitches that guys like to bring out of the bullpen.
Right. Hit pretty well to right center by Peralta. Gomez on his horse. He's there. And then does a tumble. Nice behind the back flip to Springer.
George giving him a hard time. He's like, can you do anything that will keep you off the camera?
Seriously.
And the dismount. Russian judge gives him a 10.
He's having fun out there.
Oh, every day.
But you can always laugh about it after you make the catch.
Absolutely. That's the only reason I was giggling, because he came up with the baseball. That is so true.
0-1 to Aledmys Diaz, who has 2 hits tonight. I beg your pardon, Molina. He has a double and a single. And Molina in an 0-2 count. Harris trying to earn the save for the 3rd time since Saturday. Really had to work out of a jam of his own making, St. Petersburg, to get that save Saturday. Rolled over to the left side. Tough play for Valbuena. And Molina has an infield hit. 3rd hit of the night for Yadier Molina.
Good old-fashioned swinging bunt off the bat of Yadier Molina. He had to earn that one, hustling all the way down.
Cardinals lead the National League in infield hits, but not because of Yadier Molina.
Yeah, I almost wonder in that situation if it might have been a better idea with Molina running to go after it with the glove and try and make a pure exchange to at least make it a close play at first to make Yadier earn that base hit.
Rather than that do or die play where you bare hand.
Well, the one thing, this is some inside info, man. I'll probably get yelled at by players on this one, but sometimes the reason you go after it barehanded, if you don't make the play, it's usually ruled a hit. Whereas
That's a very good point.
Whereas if you go at it with the glove and you clank it or throw it away, you get the error. Just inside thoughts there. It'll probably get yelled at.
I was wondering why you didn't commit that many errors in your career.
Yeah, I went bare hand after everything.
Didn't even bring a glove out there.
Oh, I threw that thing off and the ball was coming to me.
It's 1-1 now to Aledmys Diaz. I mean, that's part of the reason that errors and those sort of things can be deceiving sometimes.
Yep.
I mean, a guy cannot have a whole lot of range, doesn't make a whole lot of errors, but it's because he doesn't get to a whole lot of balls.
Yeah, limited those chances.
2-1 now to Diaz. Randall Grichuk is on deck to pinch hit to the pitcher Rosenthal. Rosenberg native. Pop up on 2-1. Gaddis. Got it. 2 out. That's such a big relief for a pitcher when you can get a pop-up, weak contact, even though you're behind in the count.
No, that's a huge relief. That's also a credit to what Will Harris can do and the kind of stuff he has. That he can fall behind in counts and create that kind of contact with the pitches he has.
That's Randall Grichuk pinch hitting for Rosenthal, or rather for Broxton. Grichuk, last played on Sunday, homered in that game in Pittsburgh. Nice play by Valbuena, and that is the ball game. The Houston Astros take both games from St. Louis at Busch Stadium as the Astros improve to 6-3 in interleague play this season. Fantastic starting performance by Colin McHugh, some clutch hitting late. George Springer coming up with some big hits and some big plays in the field as the Astros take both games. 4-1 the final.
Hey, what's up? Hey, the pitch that needs to be called is the pitch that I want. You know what I'm saying?